that contests are a great way to grow. How did you grow? What was the transformation that you experienced the last couple of years?
Our district, we are together with Finland, Baltics, Poland, Russia, and Kazakhstan, 7 countries. And I made it third. So my goal was top three. I made it top three, so I was satisfied.
Well done.
Yeah. Let's say I would do a slow motion, then there's a fast-paced version, then a blindfolded version, just to internalize the whole speech. And that helped a lot this year, 2025.
Hello and welcome back to Rise and Speak podcast. My name is Manjunath. I'm your host, and today I have an amazing guest. I met him in one of the coaching programs that we both had enrolled, and I admired his ability to observe speakers, analyze speakers, and evaluate very, very well. He is exceptional in that. Today, we have a friend of mine from Helsinki, Finland, Lauri Lehmusvirta. Welcome to the podcast, Lauri. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you, Lucian.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure having you here, Lauri.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Great. So, Lauri, what do you do? What do you currently do?
What am I doing? I'm a public speaking coach, and well, at the moment, I'm concentrating on competing at Toastmasters, and I also run a public speaking course with my friend. And I do one-on-ones, I do trainings, preferably small groups, but there can be bigger trainings as well.
Very good. So you do one-on-one coaching, you do group coaching, you have your own course coming up. Yeah?
Yeah. We just finished one, and now we're planning for the next one that starts in January.
Nice.
Now we're trying this setting that we have 8 meetings in a course. So our participants, they get to meet each other. They get on stage 8 times during the semester, and we learn and grow during the course instead of having individual, one-time classes. So far, it has worked really well.
Good, very good. I'm happy for you, my friend. So tell me, where did this journey begin from you? I mean, when did you get started in the world of public speaking?
When did I get interested in public speaking? This takes me back a long time ago. About 15 years ago, I was studying in Japan, and I had a teacher who had studied in US, and she was pushing me for these presentation skills. I think that's when it really clicked me that, hey, I can be better at this, or this is something I want to do. Before that, I had done some, let's say, stage plays, drama at high school, but it was more like having fun. I never really thought that I would become a speaker or a coach or anything. But when it really clicked, me was in 2010 in Japan. Later, I was introduced to this organization called Toastmasters that was 2015, so about 10 years ago. And that's when I started getting into reps, because before that it was all about reading books, and I was thinking that, hey, if I read lots of books and watch videos, then I can be a good speaker. But I was so wrong, because what you need is stage time. You have to get in front of people and practice, give speeches.
For sure. And Toastmasters provides you with that stage, isn't it? That time in front of an audience.
Yeah, and I also like that we have bi-weekly meetings. So you get on stage every second week. I always thought it's a mature hobby, because you don't have to do it 3 times a week. You do it once in 2 weeks, and if you want to improve, you have to use some time on your own time, and then you try it out on the stage. Later, I joined several clubs. At the moment, I'm a member in 3 different clubs, so I get on
Wow.
stage about five times a month. Yeah, at the moment, my role is more supportive because we have lots of new members, new speakers, and they need some encouragement. Someone has to teach them how to do the roles. So I'm more of a supporting role there. And when I need to get on stage, then I always have a plan. What do I want to learn this time? Because every time you get on stage, you can learn something new.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's a matter of perspective.
Yeah. And you mentioned you got into a contest. How did that happen? When was the first time you participated in a contest?
Contest. Uh, Actually, first time was 2015 when I had started. No, that's 2016. Sorry, when I was still a newbie in Toastmasters. Uh, we had a humor speech contest and table topics, and I won the table topic contest, but since we weren't chartered yet, it means that we hadn't been registered yet. I couldn't continue the fun. But I'd say the first several years I wasn't taking it too seriously. I've started taking competing more seriously during the past 2 years. And when you take competing seriously, then that's when you grow. Because you have to constantly be looking for feedback, finding ways to make your speech better. You have to learn to analyze feedback. Sometimes you go forward, sometimes you go backwards, but I'd say the real change happened 2 years ago. And a funny note there is, at the same time I joined this community called Stage Time University, I got a study buddy, this kind of an accountability friend, partner, and he was pushing me for sharing more personal stories in my speeches rather than having something more general. Because at the moment I was thinking that, okay, maybe I can have something more information based, something that happens in the society, but he was, no, you have to share your own like weaknesses, your own vulnerabilities, and then we started crafting the message from my personal experience rather than something that happens outside of my life. I'd say that was a big turning point.
Very
Was
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because especially if you want to be an inspirational or motivational speaker, you have to use personal stories, but you have to dig dig your own life. I like how was it Craig Valentine said or Patricia Fripp that you have to go to the part of your life that you don't want to go
Yeah.
because that's where the goal is. And that's where the learning is because some maybe you had a burnout or you were in a horrible relationship and then you got out and in retrospect you learned something from it and then you can share the learning to your audience.
Yeah, yeah, very, very important that the last couple of episodes, Lauri, have been about storytelling. So definitely, I couldn't overstate the importance of storytelling to make an impact, to really inspire an audience, like you rightly mentioned. Yeah. So tell us your story of what happened the last 2 years when you got into the contest. First of all, how did you grow? You mentioned that contests are a great way to grow. How did you grow? What was the transformation that you experienced the last couple of years?
Maybe 2024 I had a speech about depression because I've been I had quite severe depression about 10 years ago, 7 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
then I overcame it with treatments, therapy, and medication and such. So I had a story about that. However, I wasn't very confident talking about the subject, but thanks to my study buddy, he pushed me for telling the story because the world needs to know this kind of stories. The early versions, they were, uh, I would call them a therapy speeches. When you get on stage and you share something bad that happened to you, you're doing it more for yourself and not for the audience. It's okay to do therapy speeches once in a while, especially at the safe environment of Toastmasters or if you have a similar community. However, when you want to move the audiences, then you have to be more positive. I was happy with the outcome. I mean, the last version, it was more, it had, let's say it had a more happy ending than the earlier versions. And what I learned in the process is to share my own vulnerabilities, share my own stories. I think for me, that was a big leap because before that, I had gotten on stage many, many times, but I was always maybe having fun. I wasn't confident about sharing my own life. As a speaker, if you want to connect, you have to share something about yourself. If you're an actor, you can be a character. You're someone else, but as a speaker, it's you, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it's easier that way, don't you think? It's your
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, that was the biggest learning to share something about myself. And I'd say the training routine was another thing because especially before the contest day, I would have about 1 hour, 90-minute training session where I open up my voice. I go through the speech in different variations. Let's say I would do a slow motion, then there's a fast paced version, then a blindfolded version, just to internalize the whole speech. And that helped a lot this year, 2025, with my this year's speech because I already had the training routine in my head. I had a similar themed speech. It was about living my dreams or making life decisions to what you want to do in your life rather than what you should do. And that has been something like in my personal life, I had to face at some point that I wasn't living my own life because I wasn't doing the job I didn't really like, and there was something else I wanted to do, and what were the reasons I was acting like this, and so on. Although this was not a therapy speech from the beginning, at the end, what a friend of mine taught me that have fun on stage. With this speech, I got to district contest for non-Toastmasters members. It means that we have several levels in Toastmasters, and this district has about 4,000 to 10,000 members. Here, where I am, our district, we are together with Finland, Baltics, Poland, Russia, and Kazakhstan, 7 countries. And I made it third. So my goal was top 3. I made it top 3, so I was satisfied.
Well done.
Yeah, but what I learned with this is have fun on stage. I mentioned it already. However, up until the division level, which is before district, I had more, let's say, my opening was more about statistics. It didn't have that much feeling, but in the last version, I had more emotional opening. First happiness, and then I would bring it to sadness, and then build up from there towards more happiness. And during that, I learned that if you have fun on stage, it's easier for you and it's easier for your audience. And after that, every time I get on stage, I'm more relaxed because I'm going there with the intention of having fun. It doesn't matter what I do on stage, but maybe I have to say only 3 words or 1 line, but I'm still, yay, I get to speak on stage.
Yeah, that's a good attitude to go with. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was your transformation when somebody said you just go to the stage and have fun. Yeah, that transformed you as a storyteller and a speaker, was it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I wish I had learned that earlier because I've been here for quite many years.
Yeah. Interestingly, last year. So sorry. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Lauri.
Yeah, I was going to say that sometimes, let's say it's easy to get to, let's say, intermediate level public speaking. Like when you start, everything is a mess inside your head. Then you start having structure, but then you stop at some level because you're good enough. But if you want to be better than good enough, then you have to look for these points of transformation or new kind of information from other speakers or communities like States Time University or the course we went together, the World Class Speech Coach Certification Program. And then, therefore, it's not automatic that if you just keep getting on stage, you will grow, but hey, you have to challenge yourself.
For sure, yeah, yeah. And what I like about you, Laurie, honestly, is the fact that you're a constant learner. I know when we discussed, you had read plenty of books about public speaking, and then we met at the world class public speaking coaching program. And after that, you've been taking a couple of courses already about storytelling and all of that. It's amazing the amount of efforts that you put in and your passion to improve yourself as a speaker. You are an inspiration to me from that standpoint. Great. So, why? Why do you invest so much money and time and put in the efforts? What drives you?
That's a good question. I have this feeling that I want to get better, but I also have this feeling that I don't have a clear goal. I mean, it would be easier if, for example, if uh, I wanted to speak to certain kind of audiences, let's say those who are suffering from depression or burnout or something, then I could share my story. But somehow I haven't found the connection. Like, why should I go to talk to these audiences? But still, I have this like innate feeling that I want to know more. I want to be better, and competing is currently the format that provides me the goal. It's also about sharing, so I can help others to become better speakers. That's why I'm a public speaking coach. I teach other people to be better speakers. I have to say this is actually a big challenge for me because I've been looking for the goal. What would I do with this soft skill? Because if you think public speaking, it's a soft skill.
Yeah.
If you, let's say you have a business or you want to, okay, let's say if you have a business of some kind and then you want to promote your business, then improving your soft skills, I mean your public speaking skills, it makes you easier to sell your business. If you just keep improving the soft skill and you don't know what to do with it, it's kind of pointless. But still, for me now, the reason I want to become better is that I can teach others and I want to see the growth in other people. That's why I do trainings. That's why I coach people because I want to see the growth in them. Because it's also something I never had or during the first 8 years. Uh, I was always getting, well, this is a funny story. I was always getting feedback that my vocal variety sucks because I have normally I have a very monotonous voice. Maybe it's a bit drowsy now as well, but
It's
nobody ever told me how to improve it. So I was just getting this feedback. Oh, you have to do something with your vocal variety, but okay, how? Then I went. First, I actually hired a vocal coach, but the chemistry didn't really match. We met 2 or 3 times, and then I didn't use the rest of my 5 session packet. Then I went to a singing class for singing for beginners, and that's where I got to experience using my voice. And then I started taking small group singing and then one-on-one singing classes until my singing teacher suddenly died. And then I kind of stopped. That's a bit tragic. But there are a lot of instances when you get feedback that you have to improve some part of your performance. However, you don't know how. And then if we think about who has the responsibility in your learning, in the end, it's yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you hire a teacher or a coach or whoever, I mean, they can't do the work for you. You have to be interested in getting better at yourself.
Very nice.
Yeah. In my trainings, I always remind people that you need three things to learn. There's the theory part, there's feedback, and then there's the exercise part. So there was a time when I was just reading books. Okay, I learned the theory, but I didn't know how to use it on stage. Then there was a time when I was getting stage on time at Toastmasters. I wasn't really preparing, and it means that you learn to go on stage and give a spontaneous speech and which is a like an okay speech, but you don't really get better because you're not you're not uh, you're not getting better because you're not concentrating on your weaknesses or what you should be improving. So in order to learn, you need all of three. You need theory, you need feedback, and you have to get on stage constantly to try out things. Otherwise, you will stay on the same level.
Yeah. So it's theory, feedback, and stage time. And
Yeah.
speaking of feedback, I know you mentioned Stage Time University a few times
Oh,
during
yes.
our conversations, even in the past. Lauri, I'm just curious, in terms of feedback, how much has Stage Time University played a role in your growth as a speaker? Purely from a feedback standpoint.
I'd say at least half. Because that's where I got really quality feedback. And when my friend saw my growth, how good speeches I'm giving, he decided to join as well.
Good, good.
But that's kind of the missing link. You get to a certain level, and if everyone you're working with, the people you're surrounded by, are on the same level or lower level, then you don't grow. You need someone who is on higher level, who is better than you. Maybe you heard about you're the average of the five people you hang out with. That you have to be in the middle, and then there are the two people who are better than you, and then there are the two people who are lower than you. And
Yeah, yeah. That's good. That's good. Let's jump back in time. We'll go back to the contests again. You mentioned last year your contest, you did pretty well. You went to the district level, and one of the seven countries, you were in the top three. Did I get that
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yes.
that's amazing. Now, how long did you prepare, Lauri? Did you actually write your script like a year ago, 6 months ago? How far were you when you first started preparing for the speech last year?
It's good that you asked because I would have forgotten about that. The first contest was in February, was it? The first level, club level. I started preparing in September. So
Wow.
I started working on the idea in September.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe this could be the theme of my speech. And then during the fall, I would do several versions, get feedback from Stage Time University. The earliest versions were from September, but then the real contest season started in February
February.
or I'd say March.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started putting more hours. maybe before that, it depends how you calculate the hours or how, because well, yes, I'm a constant learner. At the time I was learning about public speak, I was buying online courses on storytelling, then implementing it into my contest space. I was getting feedback from my friends, blah, blah, blah. But what I remember between the area contest and division contest, area meaning Finnish regional contest, and the division would be Finland and the Baltics, so 4 countries, I used about 50 hours in 4 or 5 weeks. So that was about 10 hours a week just in contest, preparing my contest speech.
Nice. And when you started in September, did you write your script, or how do you usually start your preparation?
Usually I just speak out loud the first versions. For example, now I'm currently preparing for the next contest, and I have 2 versions already. I haven't written them down yet. First one I gave at an online club a week ago, where I like to say that I just vomited the whole idea of the speech. Because yeah, you have to get the feeling that, hey, is this the
You have
kind
to
of speak
get it out.
topic that I even want to talk about? So it's
Mm,
easier not to use that much time on preparing it, just get it done.
okay.
And that's the fear of the first version, the first 1.0 version, is that we want to be perfect. So sometimes you have the speech in mind, but getting it out on a paper or a video can be a pain. So what I would like to encourage everyone, that when you start preparing, then just get the first version out as soon as possible. Then I would write it down from that experience. That's what I'm going to do now as well. Okay, I have 2 versions. I have the second one recorded. I made some notes. I'm going to watch the recording and then uh, write it again. But I'm changing the structure a bit. But now I know what happens when what I need to add where. But now I'm going to write it down. And after that, well, then I just have to do it again on stage. But one reason why you want to write it down is because you have to, let's say, uh, we create words from emotions. I mean, in our head we have emotions, and then when we express them orally by speaking, then that alone can be a difficult process. Maybe you're in a situation that I don't know what to say, because okay, you're a bit unclear in your head. Okay, how to express yourself. The next difficult part of the process is to make the oral words into a written words.
Yeah.
Because then you have to think about, okay, how do I write this down? Here we have to be careful that do you write it in a format that you're going to read it, or are you writing it in a format that you're going to speak it? Because what we usually do when we start writing a novel. However, that can still be an important part of your process. Even though I'm at version 2, I do have a sort of as I said, I didn't have a script, but I have a kind of written version of the structure. And sometimes it's good to just write everything down and see how you feel about it. But maybe the most important part here is that it requires time. Just be prepared to spend time on it.
Interesting. Very good. So you just get everything out. That was your first step, wasn't it? You just let it out. Yeah. You don't write at that point, do you? You just speak it out, right? That was my understanding. Or
Yeah, I would just speak it out. I
Mhm.
wouldn't. I might do a structure of a bullet points mind map, something. Then I would improvise the speech around the bullet points or the mind map.
Okay.
And later comes the writing part, because you also, If you have it on paper, then at one glance, I mean, you can see everything. You can see the whole speech at
Yeah.
you say
Yeah.
one glance. And that's also an important part because then you get to see okay, what the structure is like. This is a bit nitpicky in contest speaking, but let's say if you're a keynote speaker or you speak outside of Toastmasters, I'd say it's still important to rehearse and structure some parts of your speech. For example, if you're telling a story, then you prepare the story ahead and then you rehearse it. But otherwise, you can just improvise the other parts.
Interesting.
Well, yeah. If you go back to contest speaking, because we have only 5 to 7 minutes, or well, 7:30 is the point where you get disqualified. And with my experience, your speech build you're building your speech in blocks of 45 seconds or 30 seconds. So there's lots of small stories. At the beginning, there are longer stories. There's lots of content, lots of details. But when you rehearse it, when you work on it, then the small stories become shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the latest version I did with my current speech it was 8 minutes and a half. But I'm not worried about that because I know that I'm gonna cut at least 3 minutes out of that, maybe even four, and then start adding again.
Interesting. Very interesting. So
Yes,
you're still in the process of the speech being evolved, right? So you will cut some and then you'll add some and then you'll bring it down to about 7 minutes and 30 seconds or under, right?
I'd
That's
say it's 6:45.
mm-hmm. You aim for 6:45.
Yes,
Interesting. Very good.
because then if you have a blackout or for any reason you use more time than normally, then you don't have to panic in the ending. In the end, but it's good to have an exit plan or a emergency closing.
Yeah,
2
yeah,
years
very
ago,
good.
I had emergency closing. It means that when you see the red light, when the 7 minutes is up, you know you have that 30 seconds, then you have a closing that you can do in 10 seconds or maximum 15 seconds, no matter where at which part you're in the speech, because you don't want to get disqualified.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst that can happen. So, Lori, you have your bullet points, and then you think like in mind map, and then you start writing it down, and that's the process, and then you start rehearsing, right?
Yes.
So, in this process, when you had your bullet points, your main idea, your theme, did someone help you? Perhaps a coach that helped you get clarity, or did you do it all on your own?
Uh, let's say that you're always too close to your own speech. You need someone to bounce ideas. 2 years ago, I had my study buddy. He was the one asking the difficult questions. 1 year ago, my friend was helping me, and well, he was asking the difficult questions, but he was also providing the outside eyes for the speed for feedback. And then there's Stage Time University, where I got feedback from 3 different coaches,
Wow.
at least. Yeah, I think three. Uh, and then when you're rehearsing at a club or with a live audience, you always get feedback from them. But the tricky part is to know what kind of feedback to use, because there's going to be the people who are lower than you and they give the kind of feedback that it's not going to help you. It might take you down. I mean, quality wise. So you have to be aware of who to listen.
Yeah.
So in short, have qualified people around you to give you feedback.
Okay. So you had a study buddy, you had feedback from your stage time university with multiple coaches and mentors,
Yeah,
and finally you also got feedback when you presented it on the stage.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
But you
just,
think it's quite a lot. I
yeah.
mean, if you take the whole process, my friend likes to say that it's only crazy people compete in Toastmasters because you have to put so many hours into it. I
Well,
mean, previously I said that I used 50 hours in a month. I mean, can you imagine that you take 10 hours from your week to just sitting down and studying about storytelling and looking at your script and thinking that do I need this sentence and stay up to 2 a.m. to get some university feedback because they're in the States and I'm in Europe. I like to go there more often, but staying up is difficult.
yeah, different time zones, isn't it? You live
No,
in Finland, and most people in the on stage time are probably from the United States,
yeah,
right?
the
So,
United States. So
interesting. Also, Lauri, your first language isn't English, is it? It's
no,
Finnish. Yeah.
Finnish.
And so is us Indians, right? English is a second language. Does that have any role to play in how you approach an international speech contest at Toastmasters?
That I'm speaking English as a second language.
Yeah, yeah. Are there any specific challenges that you see?
Uh, and one is the wording. I'd say grammar isn't that much of a problem because even if you have a slightly broken grammar, then people will understand you. But uh, when you want to express same thing in different ways, then you need vocabulary, and that can be a weakness here. However, nowadays we have ChatGPT. I can put my speech there and ask for. I mean, I can give a prompt that hey, can you make this sound more intelligent or more simple? In public speaking, you want to have quite simple language so that everyone can understand it. So maybe this kind of nuances is something that as when you don't when you're not a native speaker, then you have to be more considerate. Then there's accent. I never really thought that I have a thick Finnish accent. However, some people have pointed out that maybe I have too much of a Finnish accent. So perhaps the next one is going to be with a British accent or a more American accent.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. You see, I've been seeing like a pattern. And when I look at these international speech contest winners from yesteryears, I mean, they come from all walks of life. I've seen people from Europe and Saudi Arabia and Sri Lanka. And so, accent or the language itself is not a big hindrance in terms of you winning the title, right? Anybody can do it as long as you have the desire and the will to do it. That's the point I'm trying to
Yeah,
make.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I don't find accent a problem. It's just that some people might find it, or if the judges are from mainly from country that they might not understand your accent, then it would be easier for them if you're speaking more American accent. It sounds a bit silly, but however, when it's a contest, you have to consider this kind of things.
Yeah.
You have to speak use simple language enough so that everyone can understand. If you have too difficult language, people won't understand.
I love that. I
And
love that advice. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's also something. I mean, you can use ChatGPT for. One is that if you have words that have too many syllables, you can ask it to find more sim- simple synonyms.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We could do
so
that.
very nitpicky, but when you're in when you're in competitive speaking, you have to consider this kind of things.
Absolutely.
Do I use fancy language that nobody understands, or do I use simple language that
Simple
even
language.
an 8-year-old would understand?
Yeah, simple is always better. So
Oh yes.
you have your bullet points, you have your mind map, and then you turn it into words, and then you start speaking, and then you share that with your mentors, get feedback. And then how do you practice? How did you practice for the competitions the last few years?
Before I answer that, I'm gonna add one point to when we go from mind map to a spoken version to a written version. What I noticed this year competing that the first version I would always write in the written form. So I would write it like I'm writing a novel. Then I print it out, then I start reading it out. Then I understand that, oh my god, this isn't the kind of language I would use in everyday conversation. Then I would try to change it into more spoken language. However, it can also be difficult when you're used to writing, but you have to create text that is more spoken. So you have to have this mindset that hey, think of it as a one-on-one conversation. Yeah, speak like you talk.
Yeah.
So the rehearsing part, it's important to get experience with a live audience. That's where Toastmasters comes in, or if you have any kind of opportunity to talk to audiences. You can also record yourself at home. This is what I did. Well, record, what's the recording, or record, send it to a friend. What I also did, was it after division level that I would listen to my own speech in a loop just enough times that I would get a feeling that which parts, what are the parts in the speech that I don't sound confident or I don't understand my own speaking. You have to be a bit creative when you're trying to look for your own weaknesses and what to improve. Uh, do, During the contest week, uh, my let's say if the contest is on Saturday, we have something called freeze the design, meaning that you select the date when you stop making any changes in the speech. For me, it's usually on Tuesday or Wednesday if the contest is on Saturday. And after that, I would just uh, after that I would just concentrate on rehearsing what I have. Just do a fast-paced version, do a slow motion version. Uh, I have the printed script. I would cut it into pieces, then mix the pieces and just pick one part. So I'm not starting from the beginning all the time. I'm randomly starting from somewhere of the speech. That way, I get balance. I can balance my rehearsing. Because if you always start from the beginning, then your beginning gets good, but then the ending gets bad. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't get enough reps.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh, Visualization, sometimes just sit down, lay down in bed, close your eyes, imagine the audience, imagine everything. Same goes for if you practice blindfolded. So put something in front of your eyes and then imagine the audience and start rehearsing your speech. This is much better than rehearsing in front of mirror, because if you're watching it yourself from mirror, then you're constantly seeing yourself and thinking, oh, like maybe I shouldn't do this movement or something, blah blah blah. But in reality, when you get on stage, then you want to have this mindset that you have visited this visualized stage countless of times,
Okay.
so you feel comfortable when the contest comes. Uh, so I would rehearse maybe 90 minutes per day. First, start opening my voice, doing some vocal exercises. Then just start grinding the speech, because there's going to be points where you have to put more emotion in, and then there are points where you have to be more maybe slow paced.
Yeah.
So you're not monotone all the time. There's ups and downs, and you have to have the emotional connection for all the parts. There are lots of information you can add into 7 minutes. I mean, not just words. I mean, like information in the sense of data, but information as a sense of emotions and how to connect with the audience, how to make them relate to you. What are the parts of your story that they can relate to, and so on.
Thanks, Lauri. Some very valuable inputs. So, what you do is you write your script, chop them into pieces, and just read from anywhere. You pick one of the chits, and that way you're not really focusing right from the beginning, but it could be
Mm.
from anywhere in between as well. That's a great technique. I really like that. And you do blindfolded, and then you try fast and then slow motion way of rehearsing, and then of course you also record. So do you completely avoid rehearsing in front of a mirror? You don't do that at all?
I don't do that at all. So many people that I follow, my mentors, coaches, have told them don't do that. So that's why I don't do
Okay.
that. Think of it like this: you want to be in a similar situation when you rehearse than when you're on stage. And when you're on stage, you don't have mirror in front of you,
Yeah,
and you don't want to be concentrating on yourself. You want to concentrate on your audience.
that's the idea. Nice. Well done. So we've spoken about how you first come up with the bullet points, then you speak it out, and then you write it down. Now you've changed your approach. You write the script down before you start presenting, right from the get-go. And then you get feedback from multiple people and pick the ones that make sense to you. And then, of course, you practice it in a certain way. So these are the things that we've covered thus far.
Yes.
What is the one tip that you'd give for somebody who wants to participate in the upcoming contest?
Something I learned this year from one of the world champions, Cyril Dim Jr. He was, for example, was it 2021 or 22? He said it's a multi-year project. Like, don't expect to win on the first try. There are people who have used 15 years. This year's winner, I think he's been a member for 15 years in Toastmasters or something.
Wow. Okay.
And Jock Elliott, I think was it the world champion around 2010 or 4. I think he was also trying for 14 or 20 years. And don't think about perfection, think about progression. Like, try to be a better version of yourself. If you win a contest, great. Concentrate on the audience. Because as speakers, we are serving the audience. And you asked for one thing. I think this is too many, but I have one more.
No, this is good. This is good. These are great advice here.
Yeah. Let's remember that the judges are also from amateur base. I mean, this is an amateur contest because no one is a professional speaker or well, maybe some are, but Toastmasters is not a, like a professional speaking organization. It's a amateur in that sense. I like to say that the results can be 50-50 by luck and by skill. It might be that you're the best speaker, but how for some reason someone else wins. So don't take it too seriously. Concentrate on your personal growth. If you win, you win. If you don't win, then
Maybe next time.
yeah, maybe next time just concentrate on getting better. Uh, if you start taking things too seriously, then it's not fun anymore.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I participated in my contest first time ever this year in 2025. And I agree with you 100%. It was an exhilarating experience. So, anybody who wants to really become high quality public speakers, I very highly encourage you to participate in the contest. So, when we are encouraging, we're getting more competition, but it's a good thing because we want you to succeed. I'm sure I'm sure Laurie agrees with me as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So when is the next one coming up? When what's
The
the
next one, just February. In February
February?
we have the club levels, and then area is on March.
Yeah, February, March
Yeah, yeah.
2026.
It depends on the district when you have the contest. Usually it's the spring, but I've heard there are districts where they have international speech contest in fall.
Interesting. I didn't know that. But in
Yeah,
India, it happens in February.
yeah,
Yeah. Good,
yeah.
good. Awesome, Laurie. It's been wonderful having you. I hope you enjoyed being
Yeah,
a
it's been
part
fun.
of this episode. Yeah. And again, I'm so glad that I met you and we met online. And I know you're excited to visit India someday. And I'm hoping and praying for that day to come as early as it can. And I hope to see you soon. Thanks very much for sharing the knowledge and having fun in the
Yeah.
process. Yeah, great. Thanks, Lori. Any parting words that you want to share with our audience?
Sharing up with our audience. But first of all, I'd love to come to India, so let's just start making a project on let's do something together in India. But our audiences keep speaking up. Uh, every time you get on stage, it's an opportunity to learn something. Yeah. If you forget that, then you stop growing. So when you're in the game, you're in the game. But when you're not, then you stop.
Great point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So take the stage as many times as you can.
Yeah.
That's the path to growth. Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's what Rise and Speak podcast is all
Yeah.
about, isn't it? Where beginners become bold speakers, and you do that when you take the opportunities to speak every
Yes.
single time. This
Yes.
is CM Manjunath, Lauri Lehmusvirta, all the way from Finland. Thank you for your time. We love you. We want you to come to India very soon indeed. People, please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on such wonderful guests. We are also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Check out Rise and Speak podcast. Thanks very much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Laurie.